In problem 2, we're going to actually figure out an equation and use an equation to help us to predict something we do not know. The table shows the median home prices in Florida. Well, this is kind of neat to talk about how much a price of a home can be. What is an equation of a trend line that models this relationship between time and home prices? Use the equation to predict the median home price in 2020. So the first thing we need to understand is what it's asking us to do. First, we have to make an equation. Okay? Second, we're going to use our equation to predict. Okay. So let's look at 1940, 1950, 1960, 1970, all the way up to 2000, skipping by tens. Now, they've already made our ordered pairs for us, but we have to make sure that we understand they didn't use 1940. Okay, can you see how it says 0? Just so you know, when we let x equal 0, that means it's 1940. Okay, so that's why we use 0 here. 10, so this one's 1940. This one will be 1950, and they do that so our numbers are easier to handle. Okay, it's much easier to plug in smaller numbers. Just so you understand, you might want to write it on there. This 0 means 1940, 10 is 1950, 20 is 1960, so on and so forth. So in 1940, wow, look at that. In 1940, a home was $23,000. Let's look at 2000. In the year 2000, the median home price was $105,500. It's actually not too bad for a nice home. Alright, so you can see it's obviously going to go up, right? Well, let's look at the points. They've already graphed them for us. We have a little bit maybe of an outlier right there. Not a big deal. We probably will not use this point since it's an outlier. And maybe not this point because it's a little bit of an outlier, although it will kind of bring the line down. And what you need to be able to do is you need to figure out 2 points that you want to use that you think is going to represent the data the best. So, I'm going to put my ruler and I'm going to put it on 2 points. Look at these 2 points that I have the ruler sitting on. Boy, that doesn't go through a lot of the points. We are not going to pick those 2 points, okay? Because remember, we're going to get 2 points to make a line. Write that down. 2 points to make a line. And that's exactly why we studied what we studied yesterday. Alright, now, what about like these 2 points? Ready? That one and this one. Those aren't very good. It doesn't represent a lot of our data very well. So we need to find 2 points that we really like, that we think represent the data the best. I'm going to choose this point. I'm going to make it nice and dark. And I am going to choose this point right here. Now watch what happens when I connect these 2. And are we using the ones they wanted us to? No, we're not. We're not going to use their points. We're going to use our own, okay? We're going to use our own points. And you're allowed to do that because a trend line is just a guess. We're not going to use their points they suggested. We're going to use the 2 points that I'm picking. Once I take the ruler away, I'll explain why I picked those 2 points. I can see that the points are balanced if I pick those 2. Okay, there's a couple below, there's a couple above. That's a good line. I like those points. I think it represents the data very well. So we are going to make an equation. Here we go. Well, you guys have learned how to make an equation. You start by finding the slope. Minus on the top, minus on the bottom. Now remember, the y values go on the top. Now we need to identify what points we picked. I'm going to put stars by them. We picked this one. We picked 10, 40,100, and we picked 50, 98,500. So those are the points that we're going to use down here. Okay? So I will do 98,500 minus 40,100 over my x points are 50 minus 10. Do the subtraction. Let's make sure we do it perfectly. 98,500 minus 40,100. The top is going to be 58,400. and the bottom will be 40. I'm going to divide by 40 to get my slope of 1460. Okay, that is the slope of my line. Just so you guys know, that indicates the increase of homes each year. Okay, according to my line, homes increase $1,460 every year. Let's continue on. I don't know if you like to use y equals mx plus b or y minus y1 equals x times x minus x1. I like using y minus y1 equals m times. You do not have to use this. You can use the other one. I personally like point slope. All right, let's plug in. I'm going to pick the top one. I'm going to pick the nice pretty one. I'm going to pick 10 and then 4,100. Okay, and that's going to replace my x and my y. And my slope will be 1460. So I will do y minus 40,100 equals my m of 1460 times x minus 10. I'm going to get my y equals mx plus b. Y minus 40,100 equals 1,460x when I distribute, minus 14600, so 14,600 when I distribute. Carry that over and solve for y. Ready? Y equals, I'm going to add 40,100. 1460x, okay, and I have a, let's see, there you go, now you can see it. I had a negative 14600, and I'm going to add 100. I'm going to get 25,500. So plus 25,500. This is the equation for the cost of the home given in a year. Let's write that down. This is the equation to get the cost of home of any year. Okay? Now let's go down to step 4 and predict. This is use the equation to predict the median home price in 2020, because that's what they asked about at the beginning. Remember, that's when x equals 80. Now I wrote a little note over here. Why is that when x equals 80? Because you had to remember that 1940 was 0. So if 1940 is 0, then 2020 is 80 years later, so we have to plug in 80. Okay, so we do y equals 1,460 times 80. We're plugging it in, plus 25,500. 1,460 times 80 plus 25,500 equals $142,300. So what we did is we predicted the future. So in 2020, and we're going to write ... using our best estimate a home median price in Florida will be excuse me, $142,300. Think about what that means to you guys. You know, you'll probably be buying a home around 2020. That means if you went, and this is all, you know, just an estimate, but if you went to Florida, you can probably average the homes to be right around $142,000.